Alright guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel, and well, as you can tell by the title of the video, we're finally working back on this beautiful mint, sort of rusty 1994 Chevrolet S10 Blazer, full-wheel drive, 4.3, the Spider injection 4.3. Alright, so we're going to get right into this. I am dealing with vacuum lines and hoses and all that sorts of thing. It is a mess. I've got to get this thing in tip-top shape in order to make it on a 4-hour drive. Yes, that is correct. 4 hours. So, there is a little bit of the things to do. We got to do brakes on this thing on the front. She's got to get inspected. Got to get tires slapped on it. Got some tires. We're going to slap those on. And, we got to do the water pump, clutch fan, serpentine belt, go through some wiring diagrams and stuff like that. Got to fix the temperature gauge. It doesn't work right. And the brake system needs to be flushed at least. We'll try to. And, well, we'll fix some other things. I got some new coolant for it. I got some transmission fluid for it. It's a little low. And like I said, right now we're going through a bunch of vacuum leaks that are a mess. Alright, so off camera I have went ahead and I replaced the vacuum line all the way from the cruise control module all the way around to the other side to the T at the back of the engine block, which is right here. It's hard to see. And then because this has four-wheel drive, there are so many extra vacuum hoses everywhere because this is a 94, so it's the electronic controlled with a switch to engage and disengage the four-wheel drive mechanism. The one from the vapor canister, or vacuum ball as they call it, that goes from here to the T, that vacuum hose is replaced. The ones that are down here that are old and brittle and looks moldy and whatever, some of them are missing to where they're supposed to go. Some of them are dry cracked, some of them are already falling to pieces. I'm just going to cap whatever that I do not need, which is for the four-wheel drive. Cap all that stuff off because that's just a headache and a mess right now. I don't really need it to make a 4-hour drive trip. We're not going in mud, snow, and whatever, so there's no need for it right now. I will fix that at another time. So, the ones that come to this T, there's one here, and then you've got one on the back of this. So it looks like this right here. I capped it off. Got to find a vacuum hose for this guy on the very end that goes to the intake, and then the one that splits off as a Y, that little guy busted. You see the crack in that, so there's another vacuum leak. The other hose that runs from this all the way down, I mean, you're talking 10 feet of hose each. This sucker runs all the way down the block, all the way down next to the exhaust, over the transmission and down, and then back up again around the differential. So, or not differential, but the transfer case. So anyway, all that is just disintegrated. It's literally, you could touch it and just stuff falls apart in your hands. You get black stuff all over your hands. It's a mess. So, this thing has, if you're not watching the other videos of this thing has true dual exhaust with I believe it's glass packs, and it has 2 cats on it. Before those, you see the huge vacuum leak right here that the exhaust has burned a hole into. There's another one somewhere on this guy. I mean, literally, you can, and you get stuff all over your hands. It's not too bad, honestly, but this was at the top part of the engine block. So there's one hole. There's another one somewhere, but you see how they run up the transmission. So come up this way where the transfer case is, kind of see the T I'm talking about, which is right there. There is like 3 or 4 vacuum hoses that split off, and besides that, there's another one that's not far down it that splits off another one to somewhere else. And you have the other one that's right there, it splits off, comes around, and that's actually this guy that's got a hole in it. But like I said, it shouldn't hurt anything. This is all for four-wheel drive. It's not like a vent or anything like that. It's just, you know, for the solenoids and all that good stuff inside. Probably get a check engine light or a code or something for it, but it'll be all right. So what I'm going to do is probably take some of this, tie it up somewhere, you know, out of harm's way of anything that's going to be moving under here, and keep it from getting too hot so it doesn't catch fire and burn the thing down. It does have a brand new transmission mount, so that's pretty good. The transmission has been rebuilt before. I have changed the oil in this and changed a few other things. Alright, you see the nipple or the extension of the vacuum hose goes on the back of the intake. Then you got that little T. See the red thing I tapped off. I taped off the other little round piece. It looks like this. I taped it off with some electrical tape a few times. Some old electrical tape I had laying around. I don't have much with me. You know, like I said, I'm 4 hours from home. So I'm here to do the minimum, but the best I can to make sure everything is in tip-top shape before taking off and making the trip. So everything is capped off now. There should not be any vacuum going to the modulator or nothing to the transfer case, because I believe that was the 3 ports that did. So there should not be any more now. So technically it's a 2-wheel drive at the moment. Let's see how it runs. A lot better. And a little bit more smoother now. Zip tied it to the cross member, so it should be good to go. It's away from the cats, exhaust, everything. It's just right here. It's not going to hurt anything. And it's been really cold. It's winter time, fall, so that should be good to go to make it the trip. A whole lot more responsive now. It's not so stuttery anymore, cutting up, that type of thing. Another issue I gotta fix is the stupid temperature gauge. As you can tell, it is maxed out, saying that it's at 260 degrees when clearly it's not. I have replaced the little sensor on the side of the block. That didn't fix it. The other sensor would not register at all. This one seems to be registering too much. So if all else fails, it'll get one of these, put it in its place, and I'll just run it through the firewall. I got some switches because the interior lights don't work. The headlights, taillights, blinkers, horn, all that good stuff works, but nothing on the inside works. And I've actually had one of these fail, very, very common. The rear view mirror lights work, but that's it. So nothing floor, nothing at the roof, not even the hatch. Nothing works back there. So I don't know. Anyway, so now that it runs way better, kind of decent. Oh, I should check, make sure, see if the controls work. because before it was only on defrost. It didn't blow out in your face like it's supposed to. Come on. Nothing. Still not blowing out here. It's only blowing out at the top. Could be the actual control on the back of this that's shot. I've actually had those break before. Very common. Alright guys, so fast forward to about 3 days later now. The main reason, see the clouds? Yep, it's rain again. But it's supposed to have been doing it this whole week. Done it for the last 3 days, and then it would quit around, say, 4:30 to 6 o'clock, something like that. I'd come out here, pitch dark, of course, because, you know, daylight savings, all that crap changed, so it gets dark way faster down here now. Anyway, so I come down here, do what I could, and then, you know, crash, get back up the next day, be pouring rain again. And if it wasn't, then I'd come out here and do what I could, but it was just, the lighting was not great, so I didn't even really record anything. So what you missed was the new water pump is installed. I painted it because these are very common for rusting after a few months or so goes by. So I took some nice good paint that I've got from AutoZone. It's like $8 a can or something like that. Might even be more, but anyway, point is it's painted now. And everything's, you know, tightened down, good to go. It's set for 24 hours. The thermostat housing is, the gasket and all that stuff is sealed up. That was leaking too. The water pump was not leaking, but since I was draining the coolant to do the thermostat and the gasket and the housing and that little seal that goes around the thermostat, because apparently this has a seal around the thermostat and a gasket. You got to have both in order for it to seal correctly. So I got both of those, and after doing that, I just went ahead and threw a water pump on it because I had to replace the clutch fan because the clutch fan was gone. And AutoZone had a kit for like $100 and some bucks. So I was like, you know what, why not? So I went ahead and threw a clutch fan on it, water pump, thermostat housing, all that good stuff. The battery is currently charging. It died. The temperatures has been crazy. It's raining, it's not, it's hot, it's cold. I mean, this is nuts. I'm getting down to the nitty gritty of getting things done. Running out of time, honestly. But I took some of this stuff, undercoating, since I had to take this out to fix some of the lights that didn't work, because you got to make sure all that stuff works before the inspection's done. And the wind is pretty bad today, so if you can't hear me, that would be why. Anyway, so this AutoZone had some of this on sale, as I've shown this before. And I went ahead and picked up some more that was down here. The last 3 cans that I had on the shelf. It was like $3 and something a can. Was not bad. I mean, because that's a big can. I've already used one of them on the bottom side of the truck, of the frame. The lighting's not gonna be my friend today. But anyway, you get what I mean. So that is done, because there was some rust on the bottom side. I'm just trying to protect it from rusting anymore since I already had it up. And since I had the grill off to do the lights and stuff, I went ahead and painted the core support, or radiator support. So the next thing is we got to start reassembling everything. I got to take the studs that go out of the other water pump into this one so I can put the clutch fan back on and install the new one. And then we've got 2 idler pulleys. The one for the tensioner was bad, and the idler pulley was bad. Both of them, I mean, the bearings were completely gone. The truck's a mess, but here's the thermostat that I'm using. There's the part number 15849. It was like $3 or $4 because I have an account with them. And I got an idler pulley. This is the actual idler pulley. Not the one for the tensioner, but it's, you know, as you can see, smooth as butter. There's no noise. You go find the other one and I'll show you the difference. Here's the one for the tensioner. Put my finger in it. Smooth as butter. So here is the tensioner pulley. Yeah, nice and crunchy. I mean, you could see notches, how it stops in my hand. Yeah, that's not good. This one's the same way. The bearings in this one is gone. Alright. This one spins, but it never stops. It has like a growling sandpaper sound. And this one's all grindy and trying to lock up as you spin it. So anyway, the one for the tensioner pulley is this parts number from O'Reilly's. It was like 18 bucks with my account, 38001. It's a Gates, made in Canada, it says. That's pretty sweet. Already made sure that they line up, everything's the same, so go ahead and throw this on. I got some anti-seize I'm going to put on the bolts before I put them back in, just because the vehicle's rusty and I don't want things to seize up later on if I ever have to do these again. Well, before I put the other pulley on, idler pulley, I got to put the bottom radiator hose on, and I got to inspecting that guy, which I bought new clamps because I hate these, and any mechanic will tell you that. It's okay at the one end, but this end's a little questionable. The inside has a little bit of, you can't even see that. That's what I hate about the lighting. The inside of the hose is like rusted, but it's not that bad. I could scrape it out and reuse it. That one's probably gonna be alright. This one over here, however, has already got a bulge. You can see it's swelled. No, it's not because this is squeezed on it. It's because the actual hose, it was like that before I took it off. It's swelled up pretty bad, and on the inside, I need to get a flashlight, really. See what I mean? Whole inside is like gazed with stuff, and it's all swelled up. You know, that's not ideal. You know, I really don't want a hose to pop, you know, especially when this thing hits, you know, 200 some degrees or more. I'm trying to make sure everything is good like that. And then even this end, you know, and the hose are really, really mushy. Usually that's an indicator that they could pop. I mean, I've had them do that, being mushy like that, really, really soft. You know, it doesn't take much. Heat climbs up, and the hose starts to expand because of the pressure until the thermostat opens, and then pops the hose. The ones to the heater core look to be good. No problems there. Yeah, those are good. So I don't have to worry about that. And the one to the radiator looks to be good. No problems there. Needless to say, it could pop too, but you know, this thing had sat, just in case you didn't know, this thing has been sitting for like 3 years or so. So that's the whole reason I'm doing so much work to it. And in the other videos that you haven't seen, I replaced the spider injection system, fuel filter, plugs and wires, cap and rotor, ignition control module, and the distributor, that sort of thing. And then the bunch of sensors like the coolant temperature sensor and so on. Clean the E-jar valve out. But anyway, I guess it'll be another run to the parts store if I can get one of these today and cheap enough, and we'll throw another hose on it. That sucks. I don't know if I'm going to do this one or not. It depends how cheap I can get it, but if not, you know, I'm just going to run that one. But this one here, very, very questionable, especially it being crammed in this spot. I can't really get to it. That one, on the other hand, I could get to it on the side of the road if it pops. This one's going to be a little difficult with everything that's put back in here, the fan shroud and all that stuff. You can't really even see this. So went back to the parts store, picked up 2 hoses and some clamps, and picked up another one of these because, well, the old one, The original one, or the one that was in it before I touched it, made the temperature gauge not work. The new one I installed made it work, but it was maxing out after like 10 to 15 minutes of running. So I took that back out, looked at it really close, and noticed that the ends right here, the stud part, was fatter on the original one than the new one that I had. So I took it back to the parts store. They swapped it out for another one. This one is fat like the other one was, the little stud that sticks out here. So I'm wondering if that was the little minor detail causing it to not register correctly. So I'm going to install it back in the head and start filling it up back with coolant, because it's starting to get dark and clouds are forming again. Lovely. Alright, so 2 days later, and shop dog too now. Meet Maggie. And so everything's put back together, and so we got upper and lower radiator hoses. They're installed, put back together. Serpentine, brand new serpentine belts put on it. Both idler pulleys, one for the tensioner, one for the idler down there's done. Clutch fans installed, water pumps installed, coolant's filled up. I got to fill it up some more. I charged the battery, and the oil is full. Transmission fluid should be full because I've already topped it off camera. And I put a breather filter in the valve cover because there's supposed to be a hose that goes all the way to there, to the bottom of this intake where the filter's at. But the hose disintegrated and it's like filled with oil, and the parts store only has one size. And the problem is the hose that comes from the valve cover comes off is plastic to about so long, and then it changes over to like vacuum hose. The vacuum hose is smaller to the plastic vacuum line that comes to the valve cover, but then it gets bigger on the nipple side that the hose has to put on to for the air filter box. So instead of searching around and messing with all that, I just popped in a breather filter, which will do the same job. That should not have any problems with that. So anyway, I guess it's time to fire it up, see how that temperature gauge works now that we got another one, another sensor popped in its place, and get it up to temperature, see how this thing runs. I got a couple of map sensors and some other things just in case we have some issues. Hopefully that it'll run smooth. Maybe take it for a test drive. I'm getting a little concerned about brake fluid being low. The front brakes are not leaking. The rear brakes, where the wheel cylinder's at, they're not leaking. I don't see anything on the back side of the drums, so I don't know where the fluid's going. I hope that it's not the master cylinder, because if it is, I am SOL, because nobody has it in stock. It takes a couple days to even get here, and the problem is, look at the rust. I mean, it's caked on full of rust, and then I can't even get the bleeder screws open at the front. I'm sure that the back's going to be the same way. I really don't want to touch that. You know, I don't have all my tools here. I've got a torch at home, a little mini protein torch. So anyway, you know, I don't know. I'm just hoping that I don't have to mess with that. So anyway, I guess let's go ahead and fire it up, see how it acts. I don't know what that deal is, but it likes to do that every time you turn it on. Charging good. Good gracious, says we're charging 19 volts. Yeah, check that out. She ain't really the smoothest, don't seem like, but I checked it. It's charging like almost 15 volts. That's a little much. And I charged the battery, so it's not like the battery's dead and the alternator's trying to overcompensate to charge it back. So I don't know what the deal that is. But it's shaking. Yep, got a miss. And it's true dual exhaust, so if it's on this side, it's this side bank. Yeah, that side's smooth. Now it's cleared back out. I got a feeling that's probably gas related. Did that before the tune-up, after I did the injectors, and I took the spark plugs out, and it had completely disintegrated the electrode on the end because of how much fuel it was getting with the old injectors and bad gas. I still got a feeling that there's still some of that stuff in the tank, and it's mixing with the new gas, or just sediment in the tank, and it's, you know, mixing it up with the new gas and sending it up here. So I put some fuel treatment in the gas tank, so maybe that'll kind of make it come back around, and we'll see. It'll probably get worse as temperature rises, because that's usually when you see more issues. And here becomes the engine problems. Getting up to temperature, with it starting to boil a little bit, or not boil, but, you know, circulate, rise up. The engine's stumbling. What in the world? Well, we're getting up to temperature. The gauge works. Heck yeah, so it's just a sensor. It's spitting and sputtering like you wouldn't believe. And it's boiling over the coolant, so that's great. Almost to 210. Getting some heat out of it. Hopefully the thermostat will be opening anytime soon. Alright guys, back at it with the S10 Blazer, and we got a little bit of bad news here. So everything is done, it's put back together, it's pretty much ready to go. It needs inspection still, and I got to connect the positive wire for the ABS, which is right here. It's supposed to be hooked up to the positive battery cable. I don't know what happened there. No leaks so far. Everything should be good to go. Transmission fluid's full. It's shifting good, driving good. There's some play in the steering. Front end needs to be greased a little bit. That maybe help, but for the most part, and the problem is the braking system. We took it yesterday, had tires put on it, found some tires at the junkyard, and we put tires on it. And that was probably a 10-mile drive or more or so. And get back here, park it, get it today, check it out, checking over everything, make sure there's no leaks. And well, remember when I mentioned before about brake fluid loss? Well, now I figured out where it's going. If you look clearly right there, the whole master cylinder is leaking, and it's leaking out on the outside. So the actual seals inside this master is shot. And so it's going to have another one. It's $54 for another one, a discount, parts store. The issue is rust. First of all, the brake booster is completely rotted to pieces, which could be in the vacuum leak. And I mean, the whole bottom side, you could rub it and rust just crumbles in your hand. So that's going to have to be replaced. There's another junkyard vehicle that has the same setup, ABS system. It's a 93, this is a 94. And I need the brake booster from it. I'll need the brake lines from it. You can bleed the ABS here and here. But the problem is the lines are gone. The ones that go down here to the brake proportioning valve. I'll have to replace this line and this line, because I'm 100% sure they're probably going to snap. and the ones to the studs that stick out of that booster are probably going to break off. Even if I get them off, I really don't want to reuse the booster because it's rotted. And then you get further on down to down here, and the bottom line that runs underneath, you see, is corroded, and it's leaking just a bit. You can see the how eaten up it is with rust. That line is here. It runs all the way down to the bottom of the part of the brake proportioning valve, so it'll have to be replaced. Like I said, there's a perfect candidate at the junkyard. I just haven't pulled them yet. The issue is, if I get all this part situated and, you know, I go to bleed the brakes, I've already had issues of getting the bleeder screws removed from the brake calipers. Both sides are stuck. I need heat. I need some PB blaster. I also need line wrenches, which I do not have with me. And the back looks to have had wheel cylinders at one point, but I don't even know if they'll even come unloose or unscrew to even bleed the brakes. And there's, needless to say, there could be another line somewhere that could snap. But the rest of the underneath looks decent. It's pretty much just right here. And with the amount of days that I have left, I don't have time to get one of these in. It takes a couple of days for their master to come in at the parts store. Nobody has it in stock. And you can't get these lines new anymore, of course. You have to go to the junkyard. Like I said, there's like 3, but there's one specifically that's identical to this Blazer that has the what I need. So what my ideas are is to come back to this guy in a little while, maybe a month or 2, and get the parts ordered, get the tools that I need, come back and, you know, fix it, have extra parts or tools that I might need just in case they break. Because if they break off in the caliper, then I might have to buy another caliper, you know, and then that escalates into more and more and more time, more money. They probably don't even have brake calipers in stock, you know, so that's another day without having it done, you know, and I still got to have it inspected too, and who knows if it will pass because of the steering. Steering on this thing, when it goes back and forth, get the keys with me somewhere. It fires up, runs pretty good now. Temperature runs good. It gets no hotter than where it's at right now. I had it running earlier this morning. That's like 195, something like that, 200 degrees. There goes that wiper thing. She fires right up. Sounds healthy, but here's the problem. Look at this. This is how much play that it has back and forth before the wheels move. And as you're going down the road, you're having to do this all the time, trying to keep it in the lanes. So I have a feeling that this is not going to pass. But I'm going to try greasing the front end when I come back, when I do the braking system on it. And hopefully that'll take some of the slack up. And then I got to fix the ABS light issue. But everything else seems to be good. She's running healthy, sounding good. Driving good, all the lights work. Tires look amazing. It rides a lot better. No more miss. Yeah, I hate this. This sucks. But I got to cut my loss and come back. And I really don't have time. I've got something important to do, and I just don't have the time to do it yet. Put the beady rings back on it too. Need to find center caps for the wheels. I like to find the other set of 4x4 wheels that are like on my 90 Blazer to put on this. Added some stickers from Chevrolet. But seems to be running good. It's healthy. No leaks. So I guess that's going to do it for today's video. It is freezing cold again, you know, and that's another thing. And I don't have a jack with me to actually jack it up to take the wheels off the ground. All I have is the factory jack. It's in the back, you know, in a 4-way. And that's just a lot of time and a lot of work to take each wheel off the ground. And, you know, try to do that to bleed the brakes. I need more tools. So, this will continue on. This will be part 1 Part 2 hopefully will be coming soon. I don't know when, but it will be. So stay tuned for that. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the bottom. I will try my best to get to them as always. Like, share, subscribe. Have a notification bell on so every time I upload, you get the notification. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. There'll be more coming like this. And as always, I will catch you in the next one later. Thanks for watching. Have a great day or night.